Then she was just a total stranger I met. But she threatened me the first day I met her. Can
I
you imagine
really
your
did
wife
that too.
threatening you the first day you met her?
Hi, welcome to our channel.
Welcome, as always. We are happy to have you back. We are really, really happy, isn't it?
Yes.
And today, look, I'm about to tell you guys something that really happened to me. This is something that really, really happened to me.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm going to talk about?
You mentioned it earlier.
Well,
I don't know the details of it, how you're going to say it.
I'm about to give you guys the gist, the detail of it. You know, imagine yourself like I'm talking from the perspective of a young man or a young lady. Now, imagine yourself meeting your friend or someone you just met, and then on that same day you met the person. You didn't know that some years to come, the person would become your wife or become a very close friend. And all of a sudden, this person you just met on that day, the person threatened you.
Of course, you
Like-
deserved it. You deserved it.
Like threatened, like serious threats. Like I was not, in fact, to the extent that she thought in her head she was about to report me to the
Honestly,
authorities.
I actually felt like my life depended on that.
Really?
Of course, like that would have meant that I would go about asking a friend to do me a favor and let me
You could have
pass
asked
the
me to
night.
do you the favor.
Really? A total stranger.
Anyway, I'm about to give you guys the gist, the details of it. And what really happened, it was this fateful day. I met this amazing lady. And when I met her in the office, she was waiting for a keys. On that day, I didn't know she was actually waiting for a keys. I only just saw a student seated on the couch, so on the sofa. So when I saw her, I am kind of like just mind my own business. But fast forward, yeah,
Minding your own
yes, because look, sometimes when you see pretty girls, you just have to mind your own business. So I was minding my own business, and then all of a sudden we started talking. Well, of course, she started talking to me first, but of course, I was looking forward to me talking to you as well. So
Okay.
when she started talking to me, I thought, oh, wow, what a great opportunity. But little did I know that the reason why she started talking to me was because she saw me holding the keys. And that keys I was holding belonged to the accommodation or the room that she was waiting for.
Yes,
To get a
the
kiss.
room had been assigned to for the term time.
Exactly. That was back on campus. So I was like, why is this lady telling me, oh, are you here to submit keys? The moment I said yes, and the next thing she was doing is like, oh, you need to submit it. And I was telling her, look, the reason why I was reluctant to submit the case was because there was a long queue. And I was wondering, like, do I stay in this queue? And come on, coming from tropical regions, the weather was very bit cold for me. And I was like, okay, staying outside is not an ideal thing. Sit inside the office and wait till the queue reduces a bit. Now she could not wait to have a keys. So she needed to pressurize me or put pressure on me to submit the keys so that she can get her keys.
Actually, on that day, I was so terrified because at some point you said, okay, I have to leave now and maybe come back.
Yes,
another
I
day
really wanted to
submit
leave.
that key.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, that's not happening. That's not going to happen. You're not going anywhere with those keys.
Yes, I
So
see.
I had to come up with something really quick to get this guy
To submit these
to
keys.
submit the key and actually do what I want. I told him nicely, okay, do you know that somebody may actually need this key? And he had excuse for that. I'm like, okay, that's not going to work for this guy. I need to,
Get something that would stir him up to
Yes.
submit these keys. And so in my head, I was like, who does she think she's talking to? Does she think she's talking to this innocent or, small boy that she can just say, or or a high school student that she can just tell me anything and I'll go ahead and do it.
Well, that wasn't my thought at
That
that
was my
point.
thought because I was like, okay.
I just wanted my keys.
And because of the threat she was actually issuing on me, I actually wanted to leave the accommodation office
Thank God
and
you
take the keys
didn't
away.
leave, because I would have done more.
And she kept telling me, "Oh, if you leave, they can actually the school can actually sack you because of these keys." I'm like, "Sack me because I'm holding a
Did I
keys?"
say that?
You said that.
No, I said you would be fined.
Fine, really, because
Yes.
of a key that I'm actually doing the school accommodation a favor to submit, which I could
Yeah, I
have.
remember you said that
Yes.
that day. Well, I didn't want to, because we had become because with that conversation of,
Yes.
oh, are you
Right.
submitting the
Yes.
key? We became, you were a
Like,
nice person,
yes.
but I couldn't tell
Always
him
nice person.
I needed that key he was holding, because
Yes.
we had a conversation, right?
Yes.
But he was still a stranger. And the only reason we started that conversation was because of the key he was holding.
Wow.
I just saw that key in his hand.
I think it was more than just the keys. She saw this handsome guy. She's like, look, I can have more. I can have my keys and get to have him as well. But it wasn't going away to have a keys, which is her first priority. She thought, okay, why not threaten him? And I was like, wow, does this lady really know that those threats is actually issuing can push me to take these keys and go back to my room? But she wasn't going to let that happen
So
anytime.
what made you give in to my
The-
threats?
the-
Yes.
no, the truth is that I did not even give in to her
The
threat.
pressure was much.
No, I felt it. I felt
You
it.
felt
I
it.
felt it. However, it wasn't the reason why I actually gave her the keys. The reason
So
why
I-
I gave her the keys because there was this inner spirit kept telling me
The spirit of
that I
God.
believe the spirit of God.
You were saved by the spirit of God.
It was
Because
telling me she wanted to call this accommodation authorities on me
yes.
and tell them that I'm having the keys. Yes, the right thing was to submit the keys. That's right.
But come to think
However,
of that,
yes,
who does that?
me, because I was actually doing the school a favor. In fact, I think
I mean, who threatens people like that? I did that.
only my wife. Then she was just a total stranger I met, but she threatened me the first day I met her. Can you imagine your wife threatening you the first day you met her?
But did
Or
that
your
change?
husband threatening you the first day you met him?
Did that change your? I mean, what did you think of me? Going that hard.
To be frank with you, I just thought it was funny to me. It was really funny. I thought like this is a joke. As I told myself, this lady, she's joking because the stuff that I was made of and how I felt inside, I could have easily walked away with the keys without submitting it. But the Spirit of God kept telling me, look, someone needs these keys. Little did I know she needed the keys. That's the reason why she was threatening me.
Yes.
And so later, when I found out that was the keys she was actually waiting for, now I understood why she was threatening me.
Because I had already told my friends that I was moving into my room that day. So I came down to the reception to just get my keys signed to me, assigned to me,
Yeah.
only to find that
A stranger
my key
was holding
was
her keys.
missing. And sitting there, I had this guy walk in, sat next to me, and holding the key I was actually waiting for.
Can you
And
imagine?
then telling me that he wants to go back to his room
yes.
and maybe come back next day.
Yes, exactly.
Really? I mean, what would you do if you were in my shoes? You would go all the way out.
Yeah,
like,
she did.
I really went
She
all the
did.
way out. And the thing is, because I really didn't know him that much, I didn't tell him. I didn't want him to know that I would eventually stay in that room. And I achieved that. He
Yes.
didn't know. I just got him to actually submit that key. Well, threatening or not, it worked.
It worked. I agree. But
It
come to
worked,
think
so-
about it, look, someone needed the keys, and she
And
was the
again,
one.
I didn't care because I actually thought I would never, have
But
to meet him
but did you
again.
think those threats were really getting me, or like you did?
Oh God, I had other plans. I was
So imagine meeting your wife or your
I
wife
had
to be in a
other
couple of
plans.
years' time, and then she's threatening you. This was a story between myself and my wife. She threatened me seriously
You
the
know how
very first time I met her.
you know how things progress. That
Yes.
was actually the starting of it, the starting point because
Oh
I
goodness!
was not going to live there without my keys. I'd
Wow.
already paid for my accommodation, and this guy is holding the key to my room, so
Yes.
he needed to hand that in.
That's true. I agree. I agree. And you see, I mean, I think, look, you got to do what you got to do, right? Because you have
course.
to. Yeah. And so she had to use her own tactics of like, oh, let me tell this guy, this young African guy who probably just arrived in the campus a couple of weeks ago, tell him that, look, he needs to submit this case or he will be fined.
Yes.
And of course, he will start shivering and, getting scared. And then, but, oh, at the end of the day, your trick worked.
I remember you told me.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do to me? I said they won't take it lightly. They won't take it lightly. Don't
Yeah,
come.
she did. I mean, that those threats were really serious. But I found them very funny. I was like, look, I've seen my levels were like beyond the roof. So in my head, I was like, this lady is just what she's saying is not even pinching me a bit, because at the end of the day, if I wanted, I'll walk away with the key. But you see, but that's what I say. But for the Spirit of God that dwelleth in me, the Spirit of God that dwelleth in me
Absolutely.
spoke to my conscience. He touched my conscience and he said, "Look."
See, we went back and
But
forth.
I guess that was because of her prayers, because I believe
I was
not
actually
only was she
praying.
threatening, but she was praying deep
I
down
was.
that I yield to the threats.
Yes, I was like, so what if this guy just walks
Walks
out?
Do you hold
what's
my?
the-
We're gonna
what's
hold
the-
my share. What are we
Oh,
gonna do?
like I don't know, but I was going to do something. Like I was like, what if he just insists and
And then walk
actually
away.
what's the next step?
What would
Because I
you do?
needed to get you.
You probably
to,
follow me to my room. Like,
no,
are you sure?
no, I would. And to be honest,
Yes.
I actually was talking to him, believing I would never meet him again.
Wow.
So I just went so hard with my threats, and I'm like, give in that key or you face really serious consequences.
Yes. She did. She did threaten me really, really serious. And today when I look back and I think about it, I'm kind of like, wow. So what happened if during the time she was threatening me, she did something very crazy, or I acted crazily in response? And today, would we be here together?
Will probably be, because I think it's just divine.
But that would leave scars. That would mean that
I mean, we
there are these-
wouldn't do something so out of the ordinary, because come to think of it, we were already at the accommodations office.
agree.
So the highest thing I would have done was just to go over to the receptionist and say, he's holding the key that I'm waiting here
I
for.
would say, no, I'm not been holding any key.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
They can't search me.
that
I'm not a
would-
criminal.
Yes, but
So what would you do?
you wouldn't tell lies that.
Well, I was
would
gonna.
say-
Yeah, that's true. That's true. However,
So,
I was just
there we
I felt
go.
like, hey, I was doing them a favor, and they should appreciate that I'm actually leaving my work and taking the key to bringing the key over.
They don't know that part of the story. What
Yes.
would have happened is that your friend would have been fined.
Because he was not even returning any. Neither him or the lady were on campus.
I think I had another plan. I remember one of the plans I was already, hatching was
Yes.
say you refuse to give in the keys,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I will then convince the
Accommodation officer.
yes
Uh-huh.
to break that door,
Well,
change the lock.
I think
Because
you're
that
right.
was my 10th time room, and
Yes.
I have completed my payments.
Yes,
So the students keeping the key
it was preventing
needed
it.
to
Yeah,
submit that
I
key so
agree.
that I can take
I agree.
my key and move in, settle in
Yes,
before lectures starts.
that's right.
And that was why I had to go so hard.
I agree.
to get him to give in my keys.
I agree. I agree. You know,
But thank you so much for actually giving in that key.
wow.
Yeah, you yielded to my
Look.
threats.
What you need to know, I was actually holding the keys to her heart. And all she was doing is like, hey, you need to open this. You know, my heart has been locked only for you. And you've got these keys. You need to submit these keys so I can open this heart for you. And it become, here we are. She's opened the heart for me since then. And she has
Since then,
yeah. Well, it wasn't right away, but of course, after many years of friend zoning and stuff like that, eventually we're here.
like we didn't know it would end.
Yeah, I didn't know.
This way.
But this is why I'm saying that a lot of the times when people meet and they're interacting, you have to be careful how you present yourself. You have to be
Yes.
careful what you say, the things you say, because you never know what could turn around and be used against you, or what will turn around how you and that person could even relate in some way.
I think the best would just be people being true to themselves.
Yeah.
Like I was really true to myself.
Yeah.
First, like I was just being Loretta.
Yeah.
First, I didn't tell you, why I wanted you to hand in that key.
Mhm.
I didn't tell you my room or tell you anything about myself. We were just talking about general
Stuff.
things like about the key.
Mhm.
And I actually started talking to you because
Yeah.
of that key.
Yeah,
I saw the
because she
key
saw me
in your
holding the
hand.
keys.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, I was actually happy. But my happiness was about
To be to be cut short.
when he was suggesting,
That I want to leave.
without handing in the key. I'm like, no, guy, you're not going to do that.
I know. But I mean, if I were in your shoe, I think I would probably do the same. So I don't
Thank
blame
you.
her at all. And I think she did the right thing. I was the one that needed to have submitted the keys because the keys was with me for over a month or so. And I had many opportunities to submit it, but I was too busy. I just didn't want to, pay attention to it. So I had a month to submit it. Now, on this day, she's actually waiting for the key. The term had opened. So it meant that I needed to give her keys. I mean, give the keys to the accommodation office to be given to her. Later, I didn't know she was there for the keys, but she put in on pressure for me to do the right thing.
Yes.
She was putting pressure on me. I would, now looking back, I wouldn't say it's actually threat. I'd rather say she was actually pushing me to do the right thing.
Yes.
Not just only because she was waiting for the keys, but it was important to submit the keys just in case if someone else wanted to even use the room.
Yeah, I think it
and
was
then-
coming from the point of morality
Yes,
as well.
and
I'm
then
telling
I
you,
guess sometimes
this is someone
they also needed
who-
to clean the place and stuff like that. So
Yes.
submitting the keys would allow the accommodation workers and people who have access to the place to do all the cleaning and stuff. So I think I thank you for doing that. You did a really great job, and I mean I don't see it was a really it was. Then I thought it was very then when I look back, then when I was thinking about it, I was like, wow, this lady is really going hard on me with these threats. But now I look back, there's a lot of moral lessons from it. And one of the first moral lesson was that she pushed me, even if meant to use threats in a light way, to do the right thing. And so I did.
Yes.
And the second moral lesson, looking back, I think is to listen to the voice of God in doing things, because in my human being, my outer being was telling me, go away with the keys and submit it anytime you want. But the Spirit of God kept ministering to me. Someone needs this keys, and the person would need to have an accommodation.
Yes.
And so, and I started questioning, but if you didn't want to submit, why did you come all the way to the accommodation office? So why not submit it? And the third moral lesson learned from this is that when you meet people and interact, you may never know. You may never know.
Never know.
Just watch out. You might actually be interacting with your soulmate. You might be
Yes.
interacting with your life partner.
Like when you
So-
handed in that key, I
Yeah.
was like,
You see, when I
took a
opened her
breath.
heart with the key,
and
she was like,
immediately I didn't go through the front door.
so that I
just went
yeah.
straight back
Mm.
through the back door,
Mhm.
and I say to the receptionist, "Oh, I need the key."
Mhm.
The person just handed it in.
Mm-hmm.
So because I worked there, I just went and took the keys, and it's just divine that actually came out to sit there
Yeah.
because
That is what I'm saying, part of the moral lesson. See, I went there to submit a case. By trying to run away, I was probably gonna miss, if I didn't go there to submit a case, I was gonna miss this beautiful woman. Today she's my wife. And the idea of not submitting the case would have meant that she would be struggling to look for a place. I mean, of course, she probably would get a hotel, but why go through that burden when I can
or
simply
spend
submit?
night
Yes,
with a friend.
with a friend. When all I needed to do is simply submit the keys, and she would have access to the key. So the moral lesson of it is, it was divine. When God still speaks, and God's voice is that what I call the silent, loud voice.
Silent.
Silent, loud voice. You might think, oh, what I'm saying sound bit, like you don't get it. It's very silent but very loud. But the devil has got loud, silent voice. The reverse. The devil will speak. You would hear it right away, but it dies off without content and value, without
Wow.
any substance to it. But the voice of God comes silently but with weight and becomes louder with heaviness in it.
When we listen to the voice of Satan, it just
Yes.
creates havoc.
It does.
So when it's creating havoc, is it still silent?
The
The
havoc.
devil's voice.
Yes, the devil's voice can be silent when we listen to the voice of God. That havoc will die off. It will die off.
It would not be created at
Yeah,
all.
exactly. So I would say, hey, I guess I was blessed to have submitted that case on that day. First, I was blessed to have made up my mind that I was going to go to the accommodation office on that day, and I met this amazing woman. And then I was blessed once again to agree to listen to her light threats or threats in quotes.
And can I tell you that the way you handled everything,
Yes.
looking back now, I was just being extra. Like I was coming from a place of fear.
Like
I
this guy
really
might,
need my
this guy
key.
will walk away with the key. No, let
And
me.
I didn't think I would ever meet him again, and he meant nothing to me. So I
Then.
didn't so I didn't have any caution to behave a certain way. I was just being myself and telling him the consequences of what he was about to do.
True.
And the way you handled all of that, made me respect you so much that, after that day, whenever we met, on your way to the medical school or
Yeah.
on my way to church,
Yeah.
that made me say hi.
Yeah.
We just became hello, hi friends.
Yeah, friends first.
But within me, I was really appreciative of, the way you handled that situation. But I didn't tell you. I couldn't tell you because I didn't even know I would meet you again.
Wow.
But it
Well,
was
so you
really
see,
nice.
if you're a young man out there, the moral lesson from my story is that be careful how you handle or speak to the next person, or the next lady. You might be surprised that will even be your wife.
I mean, you're
So-
a very wise person.
so be
That's
careful.
probably why you handled it that way.
The Spirit of God, the fear of God is the beginning of what?
Wisdom.
And wisdom cometh from God. So I would say, hey, look from above and fear God. Or not fear God like, oh, you don't know, do the right thing and just make sure you listen to the silent, loud voice of God. All right. It was a great session. And I'm happy to have this. Each time I tell her this, she didn't really understand. But this is the first time I'm actually giving her great detail about how I felt about the
Yes.
thing. So I never even told her about these threats she mentioned. She threatened me that day how I felt about it. But I thought, okay, one of these days I would actually give a great detail of what happened.
I really
And how I
like
felt.
recounting these
Yes.
stories. Like
Yes.
we will always talk about these things.
Yes.
And many years later, I told you.
Yeah.
I mean, when we had was it
Yes.
when we were just friends? No, I didn't tell you when we were just friends. It was actually when we became more serious.
Yes. I think yeah.
I told him that
the key that I had submitted on that day actually was the key she was waiting for.
yes,
And then I was like, what? How come I didn't know
that was how I was explaining the whole threats and
Yes.
my character on that day. And I'm like, that was why I needed you to hand in that key, and I was doing everything to get you to do that.
I agree.
Yes. So that's just it.
Yeah, so that was how you threatened me. You really threatened me.
Of course, you deserved to
But
be
I'm happy that we
threatened that
recounted
day.
this.
Me too.
Right,
Like it's
yes.
just such a nice
Yeah,
memory.
memory. Yeah. I'm happy about it. I'm happy it actually happened anyway. I'm happy it happened.
Of course, I needed my case, and I got it.
Yeah, you did.
Thank you.
And she got more than the keys. She got me.
And we'll see you in our next video.
Bye.